beyond headcount. You're building skilled, engaged, and AI-ready teams for GCC 2030. So with that, I think let's go ahead and invite all the speakers onto the stage, as well as the moderator for the session. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our final panel discussion, and we would truly love to hear from each and every one of them that what's in store, what's their plan when it comes to creating GCC ready for 2030 and creating that team that is totally ready for 2030. Let's take a look at that. With that, let's invite all the speakers on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, starting with the Managing Director of Asia Pacific, Randstad Enterprise, Randstad SourceRight and RiseSmart. We have with us Ms. Jaya. All right, let's have the round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, all of them are joining us on stage right now. Next up, Dr. S. Venkat Kumar, Principal Consultant, Business Support, KONE Elevators and Escalators India. Next, we do have Mr. Umanath Kumar, Country HR Partner, APAC and AFME, Comms and Engagement India, Pfizer. We do have Meenakshi Chhillar, the HR Country Leader for ModMed India. We have Ganpat Anchaliya, who's the Site Head for Novartis Corporate Center, Hyderabad. Amjad Patan, Vice President and Center Head, Hyderabad for Bosch Global Software Technologies. And we have Adeeba Fatima, Dadlani, Chief Business Officer, Quess IT Staffing. And to moderate the session, ladies and gentlemen, we have Shweta Kumari, the partner from Deloitte, India. All right, Shweta, over to you.
Good afternoon, everybody, and this is the last session, and I hope, so I see the timer, 5 minutes already reduced. And this is a very touchy topic. Hope we do justice to the topic on the dais. So let me begin by saying that over the last 2 decades, GCCs have transformed into centers of excellence and innovation from being just cost efficiency hubs. And people have been the focal point of all of this. Every 5 out of 10 GCC today is trying to enhance the talent pipeline and trying to build the capabilities for future. We see so many examples. This afternoon, I was talking to DP from McDonald's, and he said he has to scale his team to some thousands that he said. And we know A&M trying to build it from 700 to 2,800 in a matter of 2 or 3 years. So that's the kind of scale everybody's trying to build in India. And if we look at the year 2025, Q1 alone had 20 plus GCCs open up in India. Eli Lilly, Workday, and so many more, right? Which the names that I couldn't take. So as we look at the GCC of 2030, the question no longer is how many people do we need, but it's more about do we have the skilled, engaged, and future-ready teams that we need to really build for GCCs. So with that, let's dive into the topic, and let's start with our discussion, where I'm sure the kind of experience that each of the panelists carry here, you'll love to hear their perspective, you'll love to hear what they have to say and how they have built a future-ready team. So maybe I'll start with you, Uma. What are some of the top skills that you think will be needed for 2030, GCC of 2030? And why do you think they would be needed?
Thank you so much. I think it'll be dishonest if I said if we can talk today, 2030, what is required. I think this is just a shot which we are taking with the understanding, with the kind of visibility what we have today, and it might change also. But I think 2 important sections is what I would like to kind of place on the table for the teams to think about. One, we talk about hard skills, right? And what hard skills could be. I think it'll be a word fatigue if I say that. AI, ML, right? And sequence that the evolution which takes on these is something which will continue to happen in different form and shape. I think what we are invested or what we're truly also invested, as long as we are also investing in hard skills, is also to look at the social and the team skills. All we call the soft power. I don't use that as any more soft power. I prefer to use it soft power, which the team should have. And from that lenses, what we are trying to look at is put the canvas and see if what's our plan for the next 2-3 years, right? And what's our horizon for next 5 years. Based on that, we are looking at to mix and match and see hard skills are something which we will continue to evolve and continue to invest for our talent. However, also invest on the softer aspects of working, in a team, because no more it's functional based organizations we are seeing. What we are more and more seeing is project ways of working, and your adaptation, your orientation towards working in multiple projects, not unipolar in terms of how you look at and where you look at, right? I think with that broad stroke, I would like to land to the audience here that that's the canvas which we need to continue to keep open, and then as things are evolving, try to learn and then get and adapt. From a talent perspective also, we continue to see, I think the lens, if I have to be conventional, the model of buy, build, and borrow is something which will have, it is already taking a turn. What we are also looking at from a build model is with the amount of talent requirement which is coming on the table, the readiness of the talent is continuing to be a gap. We're also looking at how do you do an early start, how do you partner early with universities. Beyond that, how do you also go beyond that and look at even required early kind of investments working with different schools, right? I think that's the trajectory we are looking at in terms of where do we go forward from a skills and availability of talent perspective, if I have to give that broad stroke.
And thank you for sharing that, because technical skills are non-negotiable, and it's the other aspects that you touched upon which is really going to take the next center stage. Maybe with that, Ganpat, I would like to ask you that how are you, as in your firm, investing in the leadership of in the pipeline and in leadership roles, and not just doing what is needed to be done today?
So thank you, Shweta, for the question. And maybe just to share with all of you, I think since start of the center of Novartis in Hyderabad, I think as a team we believed in one thing, is investing in the leadership development, and talent is investing in the future. And I think with this belief and with consistent efforts on putting investments on the leadership and talent capabilities build up, over the years we have seen what started with just a mere 200 people center about almost 2 decades back. Today it's a thriving 9,000 plus great employees setup, and a mega powerhouse from the capabilities and from the leadership perspective. I think the maturity of our center speaks volume, with just one fact that the average experience of people who work at Novartis Hyderabad is 15 years work experience. And this has not happened overnight. I think with years of consistent efforts on investment on the leadership development, I think that has really paved the path for us to be able to get more mature and meaningful and impactful roles to Hyderabad that not only provides great career opportunities, but also meaningful impact to the science and the drug development for the organization globally. I think the way we have done it is obviously, creating multiple global and local opportunities for our talent to really build these experiences through coaching, mentoring, having global experience programs, and also multiple curated leadership programs for managers, managers of managers, and also with a lot of academic institutions. We do have programs that really help us build the leadership of the future. And I think this has been a constant journey. And I must say that it has been very successful one for us with the type of roles that we have been now able to bring from our global setup to Hyderabad. Also, I think many times, often we say it's an execution hub, or it's a, it's a innovation center. How do we, differentiate? I see that being there in the innovation center space, the journey starts from being an excellent execution hub, and that's where the teams really build a lot of functional and operational experiences backed by leadership programs that helps them to have global mindset and critical thinking, and that really brings over time many of the mature roles to the setup. So I say that it's not either or, that whether we say that it's an execution hub, but backed with many leadership roles, with the development leadership development activities and the programs that we have run over the years.
And that's a beautiful point that you've made, that it's a journey, and the journey cannot just start at the top. It has to start somewhere, and then as you gain that maturity, you just take off from that point, right? So I think you've done it, and you've shared your example. I'm sure many of the ones which are starting their journey will have a lot to sort of take away from this conversation. Let me come to Adeeba and ask her. We've spoken about skills and skills of future and leadership, and how do we bring that in the firm that we are operating in. But at the same time, nobody is untouched with the kind of impact that AI has. So how are you sort of looking at the roles in your organization, and how is it changing with AI coming in, and how do you think you are going to prepare your workforce to sort of take the impact and bear the impact of AI?
Thank you very much, Shweta. I think that's a great question. I'm sure, a question that we are all trying to solve today. Firstly, I think throughout the session, throughout the course of the day today, we've heard several leaders who've shared interesting insights on how AI is, reshaping and transforming our professional and personal lives. From Alohit, sharing interesting insights in his presentation, to his fun banter on how he hopes that, AI doesn't replace him in his personal life. We had Jaideep, who spoke about, how they are leveraging AI to basically dub across 50 plus languages and across several other processes. So certainly, AI is fundamentally changing roles across GCCs today. I think GCCs were seen earlier as cost and efficiency hubs, but today with AI, they are certainly transforming into business intelligence and innovation centers for us. For example, there were finance teams who would spend hours on reconciliation. Today, they are leveraging AI to come up with predictive cash flow analysis. Likewise, the HR shared services teams is no longer resolving just tickets. They're leveraging AI to basically, look at talent analysis, employee experience, and several other important aspects. So yes, the shift is certainly happening. And I think, the work is moving from repetitive and routine tasks to let people focus and move into more meaningful and creative roles. Picking on the second question that you brought up on how leaders should prepare their workforce to embrace AI rather than resist it, let me take you back to our journey at Quess. When we looked at AI adoption and utilization, like any other organization, any other leader, I think the challenge before us was not really the technology, it was people readiness, right? It was about the culture shift that we had to navigate through. And here's what we did, which has basically helped us go through this transformation journey and transform Quess into an AI-enabled organization. The first thing that we did was we set the narrative early. We positioned AI as a co-pilot. And we told people that it would automate their routine tasks and let them focus on more critical and creative roles. The second thing that we did was we fostered curiosity by running hackathons, creating champions, and also showing the real impact stories. Third thing that we did was we basically created, we built trust and safety by involving our teams and employees in a lot of pilots that we did. And that's how, we helped them walk with us in the journey of AI transformation. And most important, and finally, I think we all as leaders led by example, and that's very important. So we looked at AI as a part of our daily lives. We also shared success stories, real impact stories in terms of AI wins that we had. And most importantly, we also celebrated teams who adopted AI and made that impact. So that's, in a nutshell, my construct to your question.
I would say powerful strategies that each one of us should definitely try within our organization. Maybe by show of hands, if panelists could tell me how many of you, or your teams, not you must be, of course, using it, but how many of your teams are AI ready and are using AI tools? All of you all. And what about the audience here? So you can see it for yourself, the impact of AI and how it is really, really changing everyone and each one of us. So with that, Jaya, the question that comes to my mind is that, things are changing and we have to pivot every time when there are changes happening. So there is hybrid work, there is Gen Z workforce, and then there's AI. And how in all of this do you think are you engaging your workforce? Everything is new, the context has changed. So how are you doing that?
I think it's really important to level set. If you think about who you are engaging, you have a multi-generation workforce, and I'm stating the obvious when I say that. But what's common to this multi-generation workforce is the ability to look at information at their fingertips. So you have two ways of looking at this when you are driving change in the marketplace, and at the same time how people adopt and move forward, no matter what the trend. It could be technology-based, it could be the way of working. Tomorrow it'll be something else. But I think the most critical task for you is to understand what is engagement based on. And the key driver for people is actually authenticity. The first thing that they want to know from you is that the information that you're putting out is, in its purpose, serving them as the end game. I think people turn it down these days if organizations, or any body for that matter, is putting information and change out there for a self-serving purpose. Then you fail. So I think the authenticity piece, I think, trumps the most. And the next thing that I start to see is, if you look at the future generation workforce, and you mentioned Gen Z, they are not grappling with the use of technology. They're growing up with it, if I were to level set. So for them, it's the norm. You're not talking about the older generation that talks about job security, purpose, and all of that. For them, they're not interested in the what and the how, they're interested in the why. And the why for them, the question is, how can I reimagine my future with whatever is changing? They're not interested in the old construct. And I think most people are not. They're curious about what the future will bring. There is a disinterest to rinse and repeat, and all of you see this post-COVID. People are interested in being sort of stimulated by something new. So I think it's, first of all, driven by the authenticity of whatever the change is. So even if you haven't arrived, there isn't an end game. Communicating the process, telling people exactly where it is the first point of engagement. I think the second point of engagement is, all of this must have a purpose. Where are you headed with this? Is there an end game that actually serves the wider community or the audience? And if you can anchor to that, then you will constantly engage people and they're going to come back. The third piece I would say is probably the most critical in my opinion, is that engagement doesn't sit with a small group of audience, it sits at a collective level. So you have to engage from a leadership level, you have to engage from a wider perspective of everybody having a say and voice. And all of you will have a younger population at home somehow that engages in these chat forums and this TikTok media and so on. It's not the content that they're interested in, it's the crowdsourcing. They want to be able to interact with multiple people and actually get that information out. So engagement is threefold. It has to be across the board with everybody, it has to be authentic, and it has to have a purpose.
And thank you for saying that, because clearly engagement is no more the traditional perks that you could have offered to employees, but it's more purpose-driven innovation and impact that each one of them make. So it sums up, what we want to say on engagement for sure. So coming to you, Amjad, we've spoken about skills and all of the thought process around how do we engage our workforce. We know that there is a paradigm shift which has already happened. There's a lot of innovation that GCCs are doing. But then for those who are coming in or who are still in that journey, how do you think they will move from being an execution center to an innovation center? And what is it that will be needed for them, for GCCs to do that?
Thanks for the question. So before answering, I was just thinking on a lighter note, my name is Amjad Khan. So it's synonymous to Gabbar Singh. He would ask, kitne aadmi the? So if he would have been today, he would say, kitne AI ready aadmi hai? So innovation, I think GCCs, they are not just the executive centers anymore. So they are the heart and the powerful engine of enterprise transformations. So they have evolved from the sense of center of excellence to center of intelligence, from volume to value, from scale to strategic. If GCCs have to contribute, it means we have to co-own and co-create with our parent companies. And then I would say one proper hint is win business in India. So it means as tech centers, when we are in India, so it also makes a lot of sense that we also win for our parent business within India, because India being one of the largest growing economies, Bosch does it. I mean, we try to see that what is that we can innovate for Indian market. And innovation is not always a top-down approach. I mean, it is more a federated one, but everyone is empowered to come up with ideas to solutions and think more globally. You know, yeah, the earlier practice has been that GCCs come, they do that ribbon cutting, fast setup, and they say second phase is scaling up, third phase is innovation. I think that doesn't work now. I mean, the day one, you have to think globally with the innovation. Yeah. So just to summarize together, I mean, what we do at Bosch, so we have our leadership team being bold, decisive, and thought leaders. So AI skilling, I think everyone has spoken about it. Then we do very rapid experimenting with the real-time problems. You know, we come from the product engineering. That would be the real key. So I would say GCC's innovation is not a choice. Yeah, so we have to start day one.
No, and very well said that you can't be theoretical, but you have to be more practical. Learn to sort of face the challenge, and you will definitely get to that level where you become true global partners and not just offices which are offshore and supporting in some way. With that, I think just diving a little bit more into this, Venkat, Amjad did say that this is what you need to do, or this is what he has done in the organization to move from being an execution to an innovation center. What do you think will distinguish GCCs in 2030 to sort of be in a spot where they are true global partners? What is it that will distinguish them?
Thank you, Shweta, and good evening. I think this is a very, very pertinent question in today's context. And I will relate my answer to the theme of this summit: the purpose, progress, and performance. So these are the three pillars which are going to actually distinguish between what we are doing now and what we are going to do in the future. When we talk about purpose, we are talking about servicing our customer. So customer centricity is going to be the topmost differentiator. The one-size-fits-all is not anymore applicable. Every issue that comes up, every solution that is required is unique. So we need to keep that in mind. End-user customer, end-user experience is the most important thing, and how we deliver that is going to be the big differentiator. Next, we come to the progress. The progress is, it has to be speed. Speed is of essence. Agility and speed is of essence. We can't take our own time. Today, the market is flooded, I would say, with so many GCCs, both captive and third party. And if we are not going to provide something, there's somebody else who is ready to provide something. So absolutely, the progress has to be really quick. The solutions have to be quick. And for that, we relate it to performance. When you talk about performance, we first talk about the talent. So transforming with talent is the main thing, I would say. So skilling, reskilling, upskilling is what is required. And we have seen how the talent requirement for the GCCs have changed. In fact, they're changing, I would say, every day. Talent is available, but is the right talent available? Are they skilled enough to do what we need? So gone are the days when we would say that, okay, we can hire somebody. We can still hire somebody and skill them, train them. But time is of essence. Speed is the question. So this, I would say, Shweta, are the differentiators for the GCCs if they have to really stand the test of the time and come up to what everybody is expecting. Because let's keep in mind, today we are talking about so many GCCs coming to India. The same thing happened when we spoke about BPO, right? So we have got some good friendly countries who are doing a wait and watch approach and already into that. So we shouldn't be losing business there. That I would say.
No, and speed and agility, we all know if you're in a race, if you don't have agility and speed, then of course you're not anywhere, right? So that definitely does matter. With that, I think, Meenakshi, the question is that we've discussed about all aspects now. What is going to keep this growth story sustainable? So if we have to talk about diversity, inclusion, and well-being, what role will it play to make this story a little more sustainable and keep it going for all the GCCs?
Thank you for the question. I think if we think about GCCs to be more resilient and future ready, well-being, inclusion, diversity sit right at the foundation of it. We have heard about future skills, leadership pipeline, AI reshaping roles. None of these levers can be successful if we don't feel our people being valued, cared, and included in our day-to-day conversation. So on one hand, diversity offers us a pool of talent across generations and different portfolios, especially Gen Z, which values inclusion and purpose, like in their day-to-day things, where inclusion also ensures that we not just hire talent, but also we make them heard as well. Especially in this hybrid work model and global work model, it's very, very important that we play a critical role, especially in making sure that, okay, everybody feel included overall. And well-being, if I talk about it, it includes both the spectrums, both mental well-being and physical well-being, which ensures there is a sustainable control, and especially how we are managing change, especially with AI, with multi, client changes all the time, or maybe different business model evolving. That well-being gives us the strength to manage the change overall. And also, it's not about the surveys and studies also ensures that, okay, it proves to the value talking about well-being, inclusion, and diversity. NASSCOM recently released a survey which called it out that organizations who focus on diversity and inclusions tend to do more on the innovation side of the things. And McKinsey, I believe, a couple of years back also called it out that two factors which is very, very important for GCC's the retention strategy. One is well-being and one is flexibility. So those two factors are very, very important for GCCs. Last but not the least, where I say that these important factors are not just the soft initiatives, but these are strategic imperatives that every organization needs to follow.
Thank you so much, Meenakshi. It's a great insight that we all will take back. Well-being, and nothing is possible without that well-being of our teams and of our employees. So bear that in mind, and let's try to build the GCC of future. With that, I'll just move into a second segment, and let me see how many of the panelists do follow the instruction. So I'll just ask them a series of questions. A one-word answer is what I would like to elicit from them. Let's see if they are able to answer in one word. So what would you the one word that would come to your mind when you think about GCC workforce of 2030. Maybe we'll start with Adeeba. I've put you on spot.
Agility.
Jaya.
Visionary.
Same. Agility.
Endurance to change.
Less HRs.
Curiosity.
Agility.
So agility, hands down, agility wins. Everyone has the same answer. One AI tool that you can't live without.
ChatGPT.
Perplexity.
Copilot.
ChatGPT.
Complexity and challenge.
ChatGPT.
Hands down, ChatGPT.
So again, I think we are advertising ChatGPT, which is not even here in the room. But then in India, we need to make something which goes beyond ChatGPT, which just beats ChatGPT. One super, if you had a magic, and if you're able to do this magically, one super skill that you would like to add to your team members.
Ability to do more risk taking.
Flexibility.
Make AI your friend.
Critical thinking.
Courage to try new things.
I would say ability to change.
Same here, change management and acceptance.
So none of the answers were one word, by the way. They were beautiful answers, but no one followed the brief. And with that, I think I would just like to summarize and say that it is clear that the GCCs of 2030 will not be measured on numbers and the number of people that they have, but it will be more about how smart technology and skilled people will come together to create value. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It was very nice to be here on the stage and discuss this topic. Thank you so much. And we are the first and only panelist which has not exceeded time. In fact, we've
Finished 5 minutes before.
5
Can we
minutes
have a
before.
round of applause because they managed to capture that essence of the entire conversation as well.
Shweta, that is what I said is going to be the main driver, the speed. We had 5 minutes short and we are completed 5 minutes ahead.
So she didn't have to come in between and sort of keep reminding us.
Not at all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.